lot of thoughts. He did mention the guarantee. So there was one guarantee that did work. That was Joe Namath's guarantee.
Sure, the original guarantee.
Yeah, so there are some guarantees that work, Shady. You just got to be Joe Namath to make sure that it happens.
Know the right people.
Dave, let's start with you. What was your biggest takeaway from the press conference? Aaron Rodgers said a lot.
Oh, I mean, aside from the Wi-Fi or the cell service at Aaron Rodgers' $30 million home not being very good, I mean, we could have a separate block about that. But
Yeah, we could.
we should start there, I think, because we did a whole segment yesterday where we were pushing back and forth. And look, I'll say it for you, Joy. Maybe I was trying to give Aaron Rodgers an excuse. It's hard to get to the Super Bowl, right, Shady? It's hard to win a Super Bowl.
It's hard.
Hard.
A lot of great teams in the AFC. But for Aaron Rodgers to say, I'm not here to be a savior, while also making two very direct references to winning a Super Bowl.
Yep.
Super Bowl III trophies looking lonely. I'm sure it is. It's been 50 years.
Okay.
And then to say he liked the Jets as a landing spot because it's a team that can win it all. He thinks they have a chance to do that. That's not shying away from expectations to me, to not once but twice specifically reference what this team is capable of. And if you don't want to see yourself as a savior, fine. But we've already, since this trade happened, all we've talked about is how the Jets basically have everything else. You can nitpick the offensive line. Maybe they need some depth on defense. But other than quarterback, this is a team that's ready to compete. I think it says a lot that Aaron Rodgers, he's not shying away from it. If anything, he's directly referencing this team's potential, which, according to him, is a Super Bowl.
Well, technically, he just said that, hey, he thinks this is a team that could potentially win it all. And I think that we all would agree that's true.
Right.
It's still different to hear the quarterback say that.
He also said specifically that the Super Bowl trophy was lonely.
It is.
Yeah?
Right? He's not saying, hey, I'm going to go win this trophy for y'all. He's just saying, hey.
He's just making an observation.
I mean,
He brought it up unprompted.
Listen, sometimes as players, we just state the obvious. And on the media, now on the media side, I see what goes on. When we hear that, oh, he's saying this, he's saying it. No, he's just stating the obvious. That, yes, that trophies look lonely. That's true. He's an older guy. He wants to go to a team that has the potential to win it all. What is true? I feel A-Rod. Listen, I like what I see there. I love how the owner embraced him, Woody. I like how he embraced him. Okay. Yeah. I like how Coach Saleh, he's there. The stuff he brings on the defensive side, right? Now he brings him along with his office coordinator he had for so long, Nathaniel Hackett. I like what they're putting together there. He talked about how the GM did a great job of bringing so many good young talents there in their first year. So you know in the second year is going to be even better. I truly think that this team has the ability not to win it all, but they have a chance to compete to win it all. And I look at Aaron Rodgers, he looks like he's determined. He looks smaller, he looks younger, he looks more in shape. I'm just being honest.
He looks younger,
last year, he looks super old. I'm like, dang, A-Rod look old as hell. Looking at him now, he looks younger. He looks like he's ready to go out there and play. And then one thing real quick, what I loved about the biggest takeaway is he talked about how, like, when he went on this dark retreat and he came back, he didn't have no phone calls. The team, Green Bay, said that they couldn't reach him.
Yeah.
And I've been there, right, where I've been traded. And I was on A-Rod's level, but in my running back room, I was the guy around the league. And nobody gave me a call. Chip Kelly didn't give me a call. He didn't give me no text. And we always talked about how communication and respect. So he felt like, yo, they disrespected me by not even contacting me, let me know what's going to happen. So, yeah, I want to leave, and he went to the Jets, so I like it.
You know, I can believe that part of him. I mean, I don't really make it a habit of just believing whatever, but I do think that does happen where teams are like, well, we tried to reach you. You know, we gave you one call and it didn't go through, but like we did technically try.
Email the spam. That don't count.
Sometimes that happens. And the Packers did not handle the Jordan Love situation very upfront and with a lot of communication. So I could buy into that. My biggest takeaway is that he mentioned the Super Bowl and winning it all twice, because I'm still stuck here in this conundrum of what should the expectations be for this move, which I believe should be getting to a Super Bowl. That should be what all of this pomp and circumstance is about. I don't think that we would be doing all this and talking about all of this and talking about this team that we think has so much talent if the expectations should be win a playoff game. But I think I'm on an island there. Slick, what was your biggest takeaway?
Super Bowl or bust.
Or bust.
That's it. That's it. That's all he talked about. He could have said a million things other than, man, that Super Bowl Super Bowl III trophy looks awfully lonely. He could have said, you know what, I love the couches in the lobby. Brian Daboll, well, it looks like you got a haircut. Like, he could have said almost anything, but he pointedly said they only have that Super Bowl, that one Super Bowl trophy. And what have we been saying? I mean, let's keep it in context.
Okay.
The whole idea, you're the one who started it. Like, he's there to win a Super Bowl. Okay,
True.
So that's where we're going to put the bar. And if you're asking me, can this Aaron Rodgers at this point get you to a Super Bowl? I would say no, and he agrees with me because he's saying, I'm not a savior. And if you look at the last 3 years, whether he was in the playoffs or trying to get to the playoffs, he hasn't delivered. So Joyce said this a couple shows ago.
What'd she say?
Like, what are we talking about? Like, to me, this has the potential of being the biggest letdown.
Oh, my God.
In
biggest letdown?
Of the season. Because we're hyping it to be they're going after a Super Bowl, but they're not really going after a Super Bowl. He's got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I'm not a savior, but I'm here to win a Super Bowl. Okay, which is it? You got to pick one. Because this was a 7-10 team last year. This was a team that didn't even make the playoffs. This team has no playoff history. You're the guy who's the 4-time Hall of MVP and the Hall of Famer who's supposed to be taking them to a place that they haven't been in a decade.
Would you want him to say he's the savior? Would you like him to say that?
I'd say I'm here for one reason and one reason only. Or don't bring up the whole Super Bowl thing.
That's the thing.
Just one or the other.
Say one or the other. Don't say both. I'm with Slick on that. But that leads into another thing I wanted to talk about. Because if Aaron Rodgers is supposed to be a culture changer and a difference maker, which, again, this is a team that hasn't been in the playoffs since 2010. It's the longest drought in American sports. They need somebody like that. They need, and preferably their quarterback, to say, hey, I've been here, I've done that,
yeah.
I've been to the mountaintop, I've been close to the mountaintop. But that's what makes it interesting, because he also told reporters at this press conference he'll be at practice starting tomorrow, which, okay, let's parse through that. The offseason program doesn't get into full swing for another month. That's what I want to see. Aaron Rodgers, are you going to tour the facility and go to workouts with your teammates tomorrow? Or are you going to go through OTAs and minicamp and all that good stuff? Because I think that is the beginning of changing a culture. Like, I want to see if Aaron Rodgers follows through on this. Because him saying he's going to be at practice tomorrow, guess what? They don't practice tomorrow.
Exactly.
They're not on the field doing 11 guys at a time playing football for another month.
So what is that? What is that other than window dressing?
It sounds really good at an introductory press conference.
Don't call the man a liar.
I'm not.
Because that is kind of practice. Going to workouts, they might go over like plays and et cetera, classroom. That's kind of like, we call that practice.
I'm not calling him a liar. I want to see.
We do call it practice. We call that practice.
Well,
Practice.
I think what Dave's saying is just don't mischaracterize what you're doing, like to the fans. Like you're not actually going to like be on the field with your teammates.
He ain't lying, he's not
You're going
lying.
to the facility tomorrow.
Very curious.
Which is a good thing.
It is a good thing.
Okay, if you're not having practice like with pads and real practice, but at this time of the year when it's like voluntary practices, you call it practice.
So are you?
So they'll do walkthrough plays, et cetera, to introduce.
Are you buying that he's doing that tomorrow?
I think he will. I think since he's already there, he did a press conference. I think tomorrow I can see him going to the.
I don't even care about that. Will he be doing it 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, a month from now?
Oh,
that's what I want to know.
I don't think so. But none of the major guys do it. Like Tom Brady when we had him in Tampa.
But to Dave's point, we're looking for a change. We're looking for a leader.
See, I don't agree with any of that. I don't see Aaron Rodgers as a savior for the Jets. I don't even see this going on past this year. Maybe he'll stay for another year, but Aaron has been talking about retiring for like the last 5 years. So every year with Aaron Rodgers is a year to year to me.
True.
We didn't even know if he was going to retire this year before coming to the Jets, if this didn't work out. So I can't even look that far ahead. To me, this is a one year situation right now. We'll worry about next year when we get to that. So what should the expectations be for this year? And when he is there speaking to the media in New York, this isn't like some random podcast. This isn't him on the golf course saying something flippantly that we shouldn't hold, too much water with. You're speaking to the media of New York City at your introductory press conference to your new team after being a legendary Green Bay Packer first ballot Hall of Famer, 4-time MVP, Super Bowl champion, being introduced to a team that has the longest playoff drought in American sports. You're going to pick your words wisely. So when you mention the Super Bowl and you talk about the Super Bowl trophy, to me, that is and saying that you're coming to a place that can win right away, then you're setting the expectations of you're here to win. When he says he's a savior, I look at that as more of him saying he's not here to transform the Jets organization. He's here for a one-off year. Maybe he plays for more than that. I'm not saying he won't or he will, but who cares about that right now? We have to focus on this particular year. This is what he's talking about. Aaron Rodgers wasn't brought here to change the culture of New York. He's not going to be there long enough to change the culture of New York.
So I disagree with that. Sorry, Slick. Tom Brady was only in Tampa for how many years? 3?
But do you think that he
changed the culture?
He changed the culture for what it was when he was there.
I think for what the Jets gave up to get here and the stature and, again, the rest of the roster, Aaron Rodgers is a grown man. He can do what he wants. But part of my expectation for a deal of this magnitude is that your quarterback is going to lead the way in changing the culture. Tom Brady got in trouble with, like, the Tampa police for practicing in a park because it was, like, broke the guidelines. That stuff matters to me if I'm doing this deal for Aaron Rodgers.
On this interview, right, did you see the owner, Woody Johnson? Did you see how happy he was? Did y'all see that part?
They haven't been in the playoffs in 12 years. Of course he's happy.
When an owner introduces you to the world, to New York City, to his fans, to that Jets community, and the words he used, the way he talked about him, you damn right he's happy for A-Rod to be there. He expects them to get to the playoffs to be a good team, and potentially in a year or two to win a championship. So the stuff that Aaron Rodgers talked about, I believe him. Like, listen, I'm not here to be the savior, but hey, them trophies do look lonely, right? And we have a team that we could win.
Shouldn't our expectations be that they are close to doing that?
Not the bust part, because all the top quarterbacks in the league, you had to say the same thing for them. Either championship or bust. And we all believe there's only one quarterback because we automatically agree that he's going to go no matter what.
As Russell Wilson showed us.
Come on now.
Always brought up a few times.
Come on, man.
Like, you can't just put them there. And I agree with you. Like,
so that's why I can't be the bust part, because winning a Super Bowl is hard for the best quarterback in football.
But there's a lot of ways this can go off the rail besides not winning a Super Bowl. Like, we just learned this from the Broncos.
It's so hard to win a championship.
I hear you.
I think we just, on this show, we play with that game.
Okay, so to that
like
end,
it's easy.
So then why is he putting that out as the bar?
That is the bar. But to say if he doesn't get there, it's a bust. Come on. Like,
I don't think that it's a.
Come on.
I don't know if I can go so far as to say it's a bust, but I do think there are levels to disappointment that we can assess for this situation. If they make the playoffs for the Jets, that's a very big deal. But can we all look at the situation and say them bringing in Aaron Rodgers to New York and them making the playoffs, say they don't win a playoff game, that's not going to be a disappointment?
Go there, AFC Championship game. Well, how about that?
I think in the first year, that would be a success.
Let's just say that's the best they do, AFC Championship game.
Well, I mean, honestly, for Aaron Rodgers, that would be a big step because he doesn't really win back-to-back playoff games that often.
I mean, okay.
I mean, that's not. I'm not joking. That is a factual.
Okay, so that's what Green Bay. This is what the Jets.
Oh boy.
So I'm saying,
and the Jets and their long
because
history.
Y'all been tough on them about it's either a Super Bowl or a bust. So I'm asking y'all for the record because I'm writing this down, so y'all can't backtrack. Yeah. First, I'm starting with Joy. If they go to the AFC Championship game, how do you feel about that?
It will depend on what that AFC Championship game looks like, to be honest with you.
What you mean?
Like, if they get tossed around in the AFC Championship game,
come on, man.
I don't.
Like, they got to the AFC Championship game.
I'm saying, like, it's hard for me. This is my problem.
Okay, go ahead.
And I'm going to derail this whole segment. Sorry, guys. It's hard for me to continuously put Aaron Rodgers in the conversations with guys like Tom Brady or Mannings. And we're even comparing these to, like, Stafford. Like, these guys, Tom Brady went and won a championship with a new organization the first year. Okay. Matthew Stafford did that the first year. Why shouldn't my expectation for Aaron Rodgers, who we think is wildly more talented than Matthew Stafford, be that he gets that team at least to the Super Bowl? I understand how hard it is. But I'm just saying, I feel like for Aaron's entire career, we always have to lay down this nice little landing pad. Like, well, they are always in the playoffs. So we know they're always going to win the division. And he is a four-time MVP. And, like, that's a great accomplishments. But there should be expectations or there shouldn't. But I just want to know where it is.
I would want to push back on you if Rodgers hadn't laid out the expectations himself. Like I said, I spent the first 2 days of the week saying, well, it's hard to win a Super Bowl. It's hard to do that. When Rodgers, unprompted, is setting these expectations, I have a harder time pushing back. I hear you.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.